God dealt with me like we have to learn how to live comfortably uncomfortable.
Welcome to the Created to Be podcast. We're back for another week, and we're excited to have a guest with us this week. We might as well count Darius as a guest as well. We had 2 guests. I'm just kidding. Just messing with Darius.
Man.
He's had a busy summer. But Darius, you're back.
I'm back. I'm better than ever.
That's right. One of our hosts, and then Justin.
Yo.
As always, he kind of is obligated to be back.
Married into this.
I roped him in. Of course, I'm Bethany, and we have special guest with us today, Brad Smith.
What's up?
We're so excited to have Brad today. It's going to be an adventure.
Yes.
Because we have the most interesting man in the world at the table, and y'all will understand that as we navigate these stories. He will deny it.
I'm denying it already.
But every time we throw something out there, he's like, oh, yeah, I got a story for that. And so, I don't know. I'm rolling with it.
Maybe that just means he's old.
That is my theory, literally.
Wow.
No, but there are things
But he doesn't look old. He still looks like he's 40.
I'm a volume shooter. I've got a lot of good stories just because I've been around a long time.
Volume shooter.
That's the best, though. You can like reach into the vault and just surprise people. We've been surprised by your stories, and we have some questions about some of the stories. You gave us permission we could go ahead and talk about while you weren't at the table, which was trustworthy. I mean,
that was a little scary.
Yeah.
but we made it through. You guys were good.
Were we like semi-accurate?
Semi, yes.
Semi with our interpretation of the things. So we're going to get straight on all those stories
which reiterates text messages and the value of like context and having to get the whole story.
Yeah.
We're semi-accurate on a really good text message.
Yeah.
But there's so much more to it.
Which Justin always gives us that remain personal in an impersonal world vibe. I think that was just that note just then.
Yeah, that was good.
Remain personal.
In an impersonal world.
Like with the text message, we was close, but it's nothing like that direct.
No, and this is a teachable moment to the listeners here.
Oh, gosh. Jeez.
Do not rely on text message to be your main form of communication.
Okay, let me say something about that, though. I was reaching out to my monthly supporters, and I was like, I'm going to do the old school. I'm going to call everybody. I'm going to try. Yeah, I was like, I'm texting.
Well, yes, but there is still a need for text messages.
Mainly because, I mean, I'm this way. Like, it is very hard to have a full-on conversation if I'm not in person. Yeah. It's very hard with the variety of things, going on. I want to give my full attention to someone. And so I was like, well, maybe the text is more courtesy on my part. I'm just going to have to, but in my brain, like, I expect people to interpret a call as more significant than a text.
But there's always layers to things, and I think the more curious we are, the better. You stay curious.
It's
like a Ted Lasso episode right there, I think, right?
You said that you didn't read the show notes, but curiosity is in my show notes today. So
what?
I know. You're getting ahead of us, though. You're getting ahead.
Okay.
Wow.
So one thing that we can go back and semi-correct, I don't know that it's a correction, but Darius wanted to make this distinction several episodes ago.
Several.
Which we're on episode 30, which I'm pretty pumped about. Just
wow.
Side note. I know.
Let's go.
I know. That you made a comment about how you had a story where someone came up and helped you when there was misunderstanding. Mm-hmm. And you said that the person spoke not just Spanish, but American. And we gave you a hard time about that.
Right.
And there was a video that I didn't look at the original video, but on the Net Positive podcast, which is hosted by comedian John Christ, they showcase other people's comments and then they comment on it. And there was a man that said, I think it would be the most American thing to do on the 250th anniversary to change our official language from English to American.
Yes.
And I immediately felt bad.
Yep. I was so glad that you sent me that because as I was telling Bethany, I was not wrong. I was just early.
You were on something.
I was on to something. But see, what happens is being different makes the difference, and most people don't get it with the difference until the crowd jumps in.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm going to say it. I used to hear this when I was coming up. They said, a lie can catch a ride any day, but the truth has to walk.
Ooh.
So you just give all the truth need is time.
Yeah.
So all I needed was time.
Time.
And it was confirmed.
Still waiting on that acorn tree to catch.
I don't think that one gonna catch. I think that was I think that we can let that one go. We don't make every shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't make every
Right.
shot, but the percentages are good.
High
Right.
volume shooter.
Right.
Volume shooter.
He does. He does.
He don't miss.
Yeah. So last podcast we've talked about the past couple of podcasts about the off season because athletes are coming back and also just there's a lot of changes coming up in this next year, which we might get into on this episode, maybe another episode, but we have some changes. And so even in our own family, we're looking at what can we do? How can we change some habits this summer to prepare us for the changes coming in the fall? So it's really been helpful to talk through some of these things. And I know I asked this at the end of the last podcast. I think it was the last episode anyways. But what would your future self thank you for? And I think, Brad, you had a comment on that.
Well, I mean, you guys had some good ones. Working out, and hopefully your knees will still be good when you're as old as me, and all that. I think that's the way you were thinking through that. But one of the things that I was thinking as I was listening to that, I think that was podcast before last. Actually, yeah. When I was listening, is one thing that I used to do a lot. We used to do. My wife and I would be pray for our boys. Obviously, I mean that's somewhat normal, and I would expect to do that, but also praying for whoever their future spouse was.
Yeah,
and even when you've got a like kids your all's age, when you've got young kids, that's something that your future self will thank you for. So I would pray constantly. I've got two boys. Pray that whoever she was, wherever she was, that she was growing closer to the Lord that day. That she was safe that day. That she was, there was something about her from that day that was going to help and guide her through her life, and one day help guide my boys and potentially grandkids. Through, and so update on that because that was what I was going to send you 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
2 days ago. My youngest got engaged.
Oh,
so we do have some stuff going on in the family right now.
Yeah.
So Abby, who I did not know until a year ago, was being prayed for, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it's an Abby, even better.
I know.
It is
More
an
Abbeys.
Abby.
More
Yeah.
Abbeys. There
you
are a
go.
lot of
There you
Abbeys.
go.
Yes.
And in case Miriam's listening, I prayed for Miriam also. They got married 2 years ago. That's my other son. So
Okay.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, that's definitely thinking like really far in the future.
Well, that's what I'm.
That's cool.
You're asking what would your future self be, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to say that maybe I am your future self. I'm coming to you from the next.
So
wave up.
what is the next future self for Brad that you're thinking about?
What I really want what I need to be doing, and I'm not doing. What my future self would probably be telling me now is prayer journaling.
Yeah.
And I mean, and just so that I can go back and look and go, hey, that is what I prayed for, and look at this 10 years later that I wasn't thinking about. So that's one thing.
That's cool. Darius, do you have anything on that?
Well, I just want to say, like, when I think about what I would tell myself when you first brought that up, one of the main things I thought about was I feel like my younger self would appreciate my ability to endure. Mm-hmm. Like just the endurance, because life presents us with so many different things that we have to go through, ups, downs, ins, out, twists, turns.
Yeah.
But the fact that I just chose to keep enduring, not always knowing how it was going to turn out, not knowing what was going to come behind everything that I went through, but just made that decision to endure. And I do believe that endurance is both a performance and a posture. I believe it's something that we do, but also I believe it's connected to a belief system that, like the scripture says, and we know that all things work together for the good to them that love the Lord and to them who are called according to his purpose. I accept that everything won't be good, but when I look at my life, like sometimes I'm in a place and I'm like, man, I went through this. I made it through that. I conquered this, and so many different things, because like inwardly, some stuff, outwardly, some things were circumstantial, but to look back, I think that that's something that my younger self would really appreciate is that push to endure and that persevering spirit, that, and I believe it's twofold. I know it's the hand of God, but I also believe that it's connected to the scripture says if you be willing and obedient, you have to be willing. You have to choose to keep going. And I think about when I remember me and my wife, we had, I don't know if I shared this, but we had 2 miscarriages. But I remember the second one, I knew what was coming. Like you know how you can kind of tell? I'm looking at her, I can just tell. And I remember she stayed home one Wednesday night. I went to Bible class and she stayed home. And I'm just anticipating when this text message is going to come. And when I get home, she told me like she had another miscarriage. And I remember sitting on my bathroom floor, and literally sometimes what you go through is the strength to go through something else.
Yeah.
I looked at her and told her, this is not going to be something that happened to us, but this is going to be something that happened for us. Like this is a comma, and we're going to, and I'm just saying to be in a place where I can look back, I feel like that's what my younger self would appreciate.
Yeah.
Just that desire and that push to endure. Like that word endurance is a big thing for me, especially in this season. So I think that's one thing that I could look back and say that my younger self would appreciate.
Yeah, I think in talking about that topic last week, it was just, I don't know, just like snippets of memories were coming back as we were talking of how thankful I am that we didn't quit.
Come on.
And it's good to be at a point in your life where
Yes.
you can be thankful for it because you're not necessarily like pressing through. Because that's what's really tough is when you're going through those things. And there were so many moments that we could have quit and at certain things, and then just to endure and be in that position now to be thankful. But then there's other things, that we're still having to endure, but that motivation of, what that picture looks like in the future, I mean, it helps for sure. But anyways, that's awesome. And anything from your future self that you wanted to mention, Justin? Well, I did want to mention that we are in a season where we did ask that question not too long ago because Justin is having some changes in the fall.
Yeah,
job-wise.
so apparently I am quitting. You said you weren't quitting.
No,
you didn't quit.
No, but here's the thing. I just want to make a distinction.
I was about to jump in on that, but
Yeah. Make a distinction that's helpful about this question because we have navigated several life decisions where we're kind of at a crossroads where it's not clear. And so it has helped to ask that question, what would 20 years from now, what would I be thankful for that I decided for in this moment? And I know when we had kids, it might be controversial, but, I was deciding between, do I want to have a midwife and have home births, or do I want to be in the hospital? And that was a decision that I had to ask this question. Will I be irritated or mad at myself if I make this decision based on other people's opinion, or what I really actually deep down want to do? And so that was one time I remember this distinct question, like distinctively this question came in, and it was really important for me. But I asked Justin the same question whenever he had a job opportunity come up recently. Like, what do you see yourself doing for the next 20 years, basically?
Yeah.
Which I feel like that makes us feel
I was
really
thinking
old.
a lot lower than that. I was like the next 5. But
But anyways, I don't know if you want to share about that.
yeah, crazy opportunity presented before me. Got a call out of the blue from a friend that I haven't talked to in a while. And he's like, dude, I couldn't sleep last night. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? And he's like, there's a opportunity. I feel like I thought of you when it came up. And his good friend that he works with is opening up a brunch restaurant here in Starkville. And he's got one in Hattiesburg. He's also got a couple mugshots, he and his brother, as well, in Hattiesburg and Flowood. And they're going to open up a Vicious Biscuit here in Starkville. And they were looking for somebody that knows Starkville, that is known in Starkville, to kind of run and lead that charge there. And they would be there to help and do all that, but kind of looking for a partner and operator. And I was like, okay. And so he kind of told me what the role entailed. And then they were like, when he called that morning, he was like, hey, they're actually coming up like right now if you want to meet with them. And I'm like, sure. And I didn't have anything on my schedule, so I popped over there and met with the guys. And it just felt good. It was a good initial visit, and it kind of got me thinking about it a little bit more. And I was like, well, maybe this is the path I need to take. I've been with FCA for 15 years and will still remain on staff and still help with baseball and excited about that. But I'm going to be stepping down from the director role And but it was just going through a process of like, is there another role in FCA that I need to serve in? That I need to push myself in leadership within FCA, and so I applied for some of those, and it didn't work out, and I'm glad it didn't, because I don't think I was the right fit for those. But just learned a lot through the process, and was kind of wondering, like, really just going, okay, I'm pretty comfortable in this current role, and that doesn't help anybody, and I don't have a ton of vision, really vision at all, so that's not helping my staff if I don't have any vision. So it kind of was clear. And I got to a point where I was driving past where the restaurant would be, and I'd be like, I'd hit myself. I just would hate myself for not doing this. So it was just the right thing to do. And so that will shift September, October-ish. I'll step down as director. It's kind of been pushed back a little bit, and the store is going to open up maybe December, January, November, who knows?
Depends on construction.
Who knows right now? Construction is all over the place. So,
but I did want to bring that up because that was a important question. But then that has also shifted, like, what do our habits need to be in our home to prepare for such a big life change? And I know stuff will hit us in the face, but that's why these topics have been very applicable to the Pygate family, but also obviously to the athletes and coaches. And Justin, some of what you are stepping into, I think will come into like the conversation later too when we talk about adventure, because adventure doesn't necessarily mean going on a trip, but it can be stepping into the uncomfortable and unknown. And so we'll talk more about that. Okay. Darius, is there anything you would like to say about what your life has been like over the past few weeks? I know that you've been part of conferences and youth camps, so I just wanted to give the audience a chance to catch up with you.
Yes, I've been, you talking about adventure. I've been on an adventure. We had to spearhead a church convention here in Tupelo, a few weeks ago. And this convention probably hosts about anywhere from 200 to 400 people. And so I was actually over planning the whole thing, making sure like from the beginning to the end. It was a Thursday through a Saturday. So every outing, every event, making sure that we had stuff for everybody to do, the services, the whole nine. And that was a job in itself. And then literally the next week had to oversee our church. We took our young people to a youth camp in Ohio, Bowling Green, Ohio. We was actually on Bowling Green State University. We was there, and it was nice. I got to meet some of the athletes and stuff there, but it was about, that was from Wednesday to Sunday, and just a youth camp. Like everything is all intense. Everything is high energy.
All gas, no brakes.
All gas, no brakes. I literally pulled my hamstring. It's still hurting right now.
Serious. That means our one-on-one basketball is going to be delayed even more.
Yeah, it's still hurting right now. And so I've been trying to get treatment on that. One of the things that happened, we got to went to a hotel in Cincinnati. We had 12 rooms. Think about this. 6 of the rooms they had to do away with because the air wasn't working.
Oh, man. Oh. Wow.
So we had to try to jumble up in 6 rooms. I stayed in a room with 8 boys.
Oh, no.
And when I tell you that in itself let me know how much older I've gotten.
And how much endurance you have.
And how much endurance I have. I literally, when I say that was something, and so, but we went, had a good time, was able to come back. And so I was telling Bethany, I just got my voice back. It's not all the way 100%, but we're coming in, getting everything back together. So that's just the last 2 weeks. And so we got a lot of things we've been doing all summer. But I'm just kind of glad about just opportunity. I'm glad about serving. This is one of the things that helped me. I have shifted my mindset from this is not something I got to do, but something I get to do.
Yeah.
So many people look for purpose, wish they had moments they could be, but I'm able to give, I'm able to invest. I'm able to push a generation while I'm pushing myself.
Yeah.
Santana has been with me the whole time, so we getting experiences for the most part together. So that it's been a roller coaster, but I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining.
Jeez. You're going to need that perspective to get through a room with 8 boys. You can't imagine how much that smelled in there.
Well, I'm going to tell you one of the things, this is how I knew. I'm laying down, and all of a sudden I start smelling something, and I don't know, one of them started spraying cologne at like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like...
How old? are these kids?
So the youngest was like 9, and the oldest besides me was like 21.
Okay.
It was like 9 to 21, and then you got to think.
And you only had 2 beds in there?
Well, we had 2 beds, and the pull out
Couch.
Well, not the pull out couch, the pull out bed at the bottom where you could still lay on the couch at the top. So it was really beneficial for us. I mean,
yeah, like almost everybody had.
Almost. But this is the thing. Like when you get boys in that room, this is one thing about boys. They're so competitive. Everything is a competition. So they argued about sports. I literally had my Beat headphones on, and I'm like, Lord, if you could just block everything out for 2 hours, like just 2. I just need 2. But it was a great experience. Something I will never forget.
That's right.
We'll never
Got
forget.
those stories.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I do think that camps are for the young. Like even when I was young, I struggled with like going to camp, and I don't know.
I think Justin would have loved it. They had a thing they had to do called the Amazing Race. You had to quote the scripture of whatever the camp scripture. After you quote the scripture, it was like 8 teams it was like 30 people of 8 teams, which chaperones and children. The Amazing Race, you go from station to station, but it's a time limit. Everybody is competing. And when I tell you, with a tight hamstring, trying to run through. Listen, I said, they was like, "Are you coming back next year?" I was like, "I got to think about this one." Because the last thing, we had like 8 different stations and games, but the very last one for our group was a mile run. And when I tell you, trying to get little kids to commit to listen,
that's a long way.
It was rough.
Justin did dodgeball last year with the church.
Oh, at
our
Abby's
church.
camp.
Yes.
Yeah. That was my one job.
And he just
That was my one
smoked
job.
some kids.
Yeah, it was a competition to get points for our team. And
Yeah,
it was like me and a
you
couple
would've
other
loved
dads, and they were like, "Come on, Dad." And I'm like, "Oh, I got it."
Come on,
I'm 100% confident I will smoke every person in here.
Now you would have loved it because we had to do kickball, volleyball, flag football, basketball. Then they had soccer. Now one of the things this is how God blessed me though, because I was like, I need some advantage. I can't play. I had the number 2 player in the state of Kentucky in 10th grade on my team,
Let's go.
basketball.
There you go.
And when I say I told him, give us as much cushion. Go out. I don't care if you shoot every shot. We just need as much cushion. And he's gonna be one of them.
Wow.
Them guys. He's really good.
Brad, you surely got a camp story.
Well, I've got some camp stories, but what I'm thinking about right now and how much energy it takes is, so my youngest, the one, Grant, who just got engaged this week, he is program director at Central Hills Camp in Kosciuszko all summer. And so for 10 weeks straight, he's got about 250 kids a week. And he's camp pastor there right now. So he, after he got engaged Tuesday, they had a couple of days off for the 4th. And he is exhausted just from camp being middle of the year because he's going back for another, several more weeks. So I was like, well, what's your week look like? And he said, well, I've got to prepare 5 sermons for the next, 4 days or whatever right now. Wow. And he's out there on the megaphone leading all the dodgeballs and mile relays and all that kind of stuff, So, pray for him to have a little energy, but
much prayer.
But it's a little easier when you're 22 than when you're whatever age. We're not going to say.
I also think that maybe some of my camp experiences have been a little bit like my perspectives a little bit different because I was pregnant some of those camps.
Gotcha.
And it's just, we were in Black Mountain, North Carolina. Literally, the stories where your parents are like, we went up the hill both ways in snow, whatever. Like there was a massive hill that I would have to trek up and down and up and down at that camp. So yeah, I mean, it didn't really make it that much more.
Well, they had a few people literally, and I'm not proud to say this, but because if you're not prepared, like if you don't know what you're going into, it'll get you.
It'll pull your hamstring.
Yeah. They look exactly pull your hamstring. They had a few people literally laid out. They had to call the ambulance.
Oh my God!
Yeah, because some people, you got to think, if you haven't been dehydrating, you haven't been doing any physical activity, and you go out there trying to do all of that. Yeah,
it's not like, and most people just don't go run a mile.
Yeah,
and have the capacity just to go run a mile.
Yeah,
that's Yeah.
That's a lot. If you
Yeah.
don't do anything,
Oh, yeah.
running a mile feels like a death sentence.
No. Running one lap is like, huh? I'll walk it.
Yeah.
Oh, do this 4 times.
Yeah. Oh man, we had an amazing race at Mississippi College. I'll have to tell you about it sometime.
Yes.
Oh,
You
that's
gotta-
another
I
time
won't.
there.
I won't bring it. I'm just like that's a little.
Bethany's a boss.
So y'all, so when I said amazing race, something clicked.
Oh
You know?
yeah. Oh
okay,
yeah.
okay.
Well, then you were saying running, and I was remembering those kids running around the track. Anyways, all right. So we're gonna switch up the stretch topic. I'm gonna merge what I had thought of for our more serious convo later, but we're gonna do a little bit more World Cup stretch time today, and it's gonna be about the red cards. Darius, do you know what the red card is?
Is that a foul?
It is, but specifically what happens if somebody gets a red card?
Is there a free kick or a kick to the goal, like to the?
Yeah, but what are the results of a red card?
Nah, I don't know that.
I don't know.
And I'm not gonna. You know what I'm learning? I'm not gonna try to give an answer because I realize I show how much I don't know.
And it'll become a soundbite.
And a soundbite, and you're not gonna laugh at me this episode. So I do not know. Can somebody please enlighten me?
Okay, Brad said he was a referee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting thing about me.
That's right.
Another one.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
I used to referee high school and college games, so college soccer. So yeah, a red card is a serious foul. So that's one where, maybe it's some type of violent conduct type thing. Or it's just the biggest fouls that you can commit. You can also get one by accumulating
2 yellows.
2 yellow cards, which is kind of like a warning thing.
Gotcha.
So almost think like, because I know you're a basketball guy.
A tick.
Flagrant.
Yeah.
A flagrant.
Gotcha.
And then, you got the flagrant ones and flagrant twos,
yes.
and, some of them involve an ejection.
Right.
So a red card, you are ejected. You're sent off the field.
Oh,
and the even more punishment on this is your team has to play down a man. So now you're playing 10 on 11 the rest of that game. If you get red carded off, your team is missing somebody. And the person that gets thrown out, they're not able to play in the next game or sometimes their next 2 games. So
Really?
yeah.
Soccer that's intense. Now come on,
That's
man.
pretty cutthroat.
Yeah. Because it's like you already kicked me out of this game. Okay, let me go and be back for the next
That
game.
may actually help Draymond Green,
Man,
if that was the rule
oh
for
yeah,
basketball.
that was a rule. He would be all of those ticks would
Maybe.
be cut halfway in. Well, yeah,
I don't know.
Right, yeah.
don't know who
Imagine if
Draymond
they were
Green
playing
is, right?
4 on 5
shoot.
in a basketball game, how that would go. So,
I just don't
so
like
even
this.
if they got an extra player on the bench, he can't
you
come
can't,
in.
You
No,
can't sub
you play
anybody
down.
in. You're down a man. And if you get a red card, if we're on the same team and you get a red card, and then I get a red card later, now we're playing 9 on 11. I mean, it can keep going down.
That is. Soccer is ruthless. I mean, I want to ask what happened to the guy making the rules for soccer?
Yeah,
Who
what led to
offended him?
this?
Yeah, somebody did something.
PTSD.
So I remember, I feel like the first sign of ignorance, especially, I know Americans are probably like this, probably the most in the world because it's not like a sport that a ton of people get into. We do with like rec. Like I feel like everybody starts off, you have some soccer exposure as a kid. Because that's like
The world spends a whole
but
lot
then
more focus
like it
on-
just we shift it all, but
we do.
offsides is I feel like the first line of ignorance. Like I also ref soccer, but not near to the degree that
Really?
Brad did. I was like 3rd and 4th graders that I was refing.
Oh, it was recess.
Yeah, wasn't paid. No, this was at a church league, which might have been worse than recess.
Absolutely.
Oh man.
But there was a team that the worst teams finally played each other. And at a certain point in the season, they told us you will have to you can correct for offsides initially, and then by week whatever, you're going to start calling it so the kids learn what offsides is. And so I like the 2 worst teams are playing, and I call offsides, and the coach just went ballistic. And I was younger. I was like 21.
Church league, so that checks out.
Right. So I was like, 21, 22, whatever. And I was not as mature. And thankfully I did keep my mouth shut. But I really wanted to look at him and say, Coach, your team has not been in a position to be offsides yet. all year because y'all are one of the worst teams because you got to get close to the goal.
Gotcha.
But like they hadn't been in that scenario. So he was so upset, like, because he said, y'all haven't called this all season, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, because you haven't been down to score the whole season.
Makes sense.
Anyways, but I have been, I think red card is the second line of ignorance because even me last year when the girls were playing SEC tournament and one of our girls got a red card, I was like so offended. I was like, what just happened? So I didn't, and I don't keep up with soccer that much, but I realized something, more that I didn't know. And then during the World Cup, I didn't realize, I mean, there's so many like little rules. I don't know if you saw the game, Brad, where, who did England play the other day? Harry Kane, Mexico. He like, I think they were in the box, maybe. Anyways, but they both went for the ball and the Mexico guy hit the ball. Harry Kane kicked up but didn't hit the ball. And was that a red card?
He kicked the bottom of his foot. It was not a red card, but it was a penalty kick. I mean, because it was
in the box.
In the box.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, what? This is another rule I don't know.
It caused the guy to lose control of the ball, and I mean it was close, but it was a red card. I mean, not a red card, a penalty kick. Excuse me.
So like even learning those types of things as these plays, shake out is like the things that happen, certain things in the box. Like I think there was another play where the goalie came out and he
fouled
because normally you would see it the other way around, where like the goalie
was just
would be
a tad late.
Yeah, so he hit the feet of the other guy.
Hit the feet of the other guy.
And then he got a penalty. I was like, what is happening?
Yep.
So anyway, but you said you've been to a World Cup.
I have.
Okay.
I have, but not this current World Cup. So back to Justin's announcement of how old I am. But so I was at the 94 World Cup, which was the last time USA hosted. And
where was it?
So it was all over. It was all over the U.S. The game I went to was in Dallas at the old Cotton Bowl Stadium.
Nice.
So just like then, or just like now, probably the best player in the world, or the most popular player in the world, is Messi from Argentina, and he's been, for the last 10 or 15 years, the most popular name out there, and people want to go see him. Well, at that point, Argentina's main player was Diego Maradona, and he is. If you ask anybody, a soccer historian, they're going to say that's one of the top three players.
He was playing in '94.
He was playing in '94. That was the end of his career.
Yeah.
Yes. So '86 would have been probably around his peak.
Yeah.
And when they won the World Cup in Mexico with Argentina, but he was here in '94. We got tickets to go see Argentina play Bulgaria. I went with my family. I mean, my parents. I was younger then, but anyway, so we go to the game, and the day before the game that we went to, Maradona got suspended for illegal drug use. So, I mean, it was not performance enhancing, but it was recreational.
You didn't bring him those, did you?
No, I did not.
I just trying to make sure.
No. I don't know if anyone else knows.
We haven't told everybody what he does.
Yeah.
I
I mean, I think that's got to be thrown in there right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, when Bethany asked me what I do for a living, I did answer I sell drugs, and then quickly said legally I work for a pharmaceutical company. So anyway, no, these were nothing that Maradona got from me. Thank you though for that. But anyway,
starting early.
So the best player in the world, and by the way, that ticket was $25.
Wow.
I just looked at the ticket stub recently. That ticket was $25. Back then, and this year when Argentina played in Dallas in the first round game, that ticket was $2,500. So a 100-fold increase. But anyway, the best player in the world got suspended. I didn't get to see him play. I'm standing there in the crowd in my Argentina jersey, brokenhearted. But anyway, that was the last World Cup.
Did they win?
They did win, but no one was paying attention to that. It was just.
We know a former FCA leader at Mississippi College. He now is what's his role in Flowwood? Daniel. Anyways, he took his son.
Oh, Daniel Lang.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
In Flowwood.
Yeah, he's like a
economic developer person.
Yeah, economic development, new businesses, all that in Flowwood.
In Flowwood. But he just took his son to the game.
Argentina, Egypt.
Yeah, they were in Atlanta for that.
Wow.
How cool was that?
That is cool.
Wow.
That was a crazy game. I don't know if you've kept up with any of them, but they were down and 2-0.
Yeah.
And they came back in the second half and
We don't
scored 3
need to
goals.
open up that can.
I know. I'm sorry. Okay, so you got to have some interesting stories. Did you throw somebody out of a game?
Certainly. Yeah. I mean, there were a few
Many
times.
times?
There were a few times.
In church league, I didn't get cards,
Yeah.
so I didn't get to throw people out.
We had a few.
You gave them decision cards. Church league.
Hey, now that
That's
was pretty good.
good.
That's
That
pretty
was
good.
good.
Just
That
reach
was
in the
good.
pocket, start
That's the
shuffling
only
out
reason.
red, yellow
That's
decision.
the reason I let.
You've been saved today. You need to fill
Yeah,
this out.
There's a track.
That's the only reason I let Justin on the pod
You want to grow.
comments.
You
like
need
that.
to grow.
Okay, throwing people out.
No, I've had a couple of those, but not too many. I mean, but when you do high school and when you do college, you see some things for sure. I don't know why they let me referee this one game, and now I feel like the statute of limitations would be up. So, but I did the Mississippi State Ole Miss game one time for men's club soccer.
Oh, okay.
And you walk into that game aware that stuff could happen, so you're paying attention. But
Even in soccer?
what was that?
Even in soccer?
Oh yeah. Oh yes, definitely, definitely. So anyway, but I love doing all that. It was a lot of fun. I kind of transitioned out of that and got into a lot more coaching. Primarily because I was fed up with a lot of the coaches that I got to talk to, like the ones that you were dealing with, and I was like, somebody needs to be out here with these kids, and it's not these people. So anyway,
Should be me.
it should be me. And then I probably, I was probably the one yelling at you at a church league game one day.
Right. Did you ever get run over? Like, I'm always watching these refs and how they're like maneuvering the field.
I don't recall that. I really don't, but probably. I do know that. One time I remember doing 8 games in one day. It was like a youth tournament,
Wow, yeah.
in the summer in Meridian. And much like my friend Darius, I definitely pulled a hamstring that day. So, I mean, that was one game too many for sure.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. The games have been pretty intense. Every time I joke, like the most recent ones, they always cut to the after the show or after the show, and Rebecca Lowe, isn't that her name? Mm-hmm. And she's like,
Rebecca Lowe.
"We've witnessed another classic." Mm-hmm. I can't do my English accent because my family gets mad at me.
If you say Harry Kane again, you have to say it from a British accent.
You do it,
Harry Kane?
Harry Kane.
Harry Kane. Harry Kane.
You sound like you're saying
Harry Kane.
Hurricane.
Hey, but it's hard for me to get with the World Cup because sometimes when I'm watching, it just look like they just running and kicking.
All right, you got to come sit with me at the next Mississippi State women's game.
That's what I'm gonna have to do.
And I will be your tutor on that. And that is one thing about me. I'm a huge Mississippi State women's soccer fan. A lot of the girls on the team know. I will tell them I might not be the biggest fan or the best fan, but I was the original fan.
Yeah, nice.
Okay.
The very first practice Mississippi State women's soccer ever had 30 years ago, there was one fan sitting on the hill watching that practice, and that was me back in the day.
Wow.
And I was taking notes because I was coaching club teams right then, and I was watching for drills to run with my guys. So,
Dude, you should have like a statue.
I was just
know,
thinking
I don't-
like he should have
in
a
the
trophy,
stands,
a
like
plaque,
a
or
bronze
something.
head of Brad, the first fan.
And I remember girls from that team that then I saw their daughters here playing and very involved around here. So that's it's been a little while. I've been here.
Yeah.
Shout out to the women's team. And also shout out to the guys. I know he wasn't at your first practice, but we're giving y'all a shout out.
Well, it's club,
Club soccer guys.
club
yeah.
guys.
Yeah. Well,
Doesn't mean they're less important, but I'm just saying.
yeah. Well, maybe you'll get to watch some of that and see some of the yellow card. Hopefully not red card
Now,
action.
I'm going to say this. I did see that it seemed like everybody was upset with the guy from Team USA.
Yes.
What did he do?
He just didn't play very well.
No. About the red card.
Oh, but about Flo getting the red card. Oh, yeah. Well, it was a play on the ball where they both weren't really looking like they were both just playing the ball, and he caught his ankle and rolled it really.
No, not
good.
that one. He was was he a goalie or something?
Oh, the goalkeeper?
It was
You talking about
something.
that?
It was a lot of people was upset because they was like he just.
Yeah, he cost us a goal. He didn't make a real good decision and missed the kick when you're trying to kick it out, and they just.
It was just
in.
a bad night.
It was a bad night.
all the way.
The
around.
most recent game.
Y'all help me with this. World Cup is only once every
4 years.
4 years. So how do you think, as a teammate, you would go about dealing with him if he played that bad and this is just...
Well, nobody wants to do bad.
No.
And so he's got to be heartbroken from it. So
and literally that game, there would be 11 guys that would be looking at each other going, none of us.
No, they were awful from the opening whistle.
Everybody was off.
It was just a bad night. Everybody was out.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Nobody got in sync.
No.
Or created a spark of any kind, really. I mean, the Tillman goal was cool.
It was cool.
Like, I was like, can he do it again? I don't know.
And he did.
Okay, so since we have Brad with us, we wanted to ask a few questions about his stories that he shared and also let him share a little bit about his life. Talk about what makes an adventurous person, because I felt like as we read your comments that I was like, this takes a very like adventurous mind to be like, let's go across the Canada border with all these girls, and then get back across. Anyway, so he disagrees with us.
I do disagree.
Just so everybody's clear, since you can't see a video. But we'll get into this. But first, you can officially introduce yourself if you would like to, what you do, your connection to FCA, all that jazz.
So I'm Brad, and Brad Smith. I've been in Starkville for most of my life. Love more than anything, my family, hanging out with them, and but hanging out with college students. And so for the last 12 years, I've that's been really the ministry that I've looked forward to the most and being involved with. So I do that with my church. I'm at First Baptist in Starkville and help out with our college Bible studies and all that. Just in the last couple of years, thank you guys for allowing me to tag along at FCA and just kind of jump in wherever. I don't have an official role. I don't have a title. I can be the guy that goes and grabs pins from the other side of the room when we need them, or I can be, somebody that's praying with somebody, and so I really, that's kind of how I go through a lot of life with college students. I don't have a business card, or anything that's got a title on it. I want to be, just kind of Brad the good unk.
I was going to say, or help change a tire. He helped change my tire one night. So,
well, you know what? I think that Madeline Keating, in her speech at our Legacy Luncheon, she mentioned just about small groups and FCA and what has been happening there. She was like, in these groups, people have learned to ask, or I don't know if she said learn to ask, but anyways, but the next question or the second question.
Oh, the second question.
Yeah. And that really stood out to us. And as you are talking about your connection to FCA, I feel like that's the kind of person that you are, like, to these kids. Like, you're not, just like, hey, how you doing? And then move on. Like, you're aware enough and in tune enough to ask that second question. And so that's one thing that I've enjoyed watching. Like, I know that you told a story, I think it was when you maybe drove to the college getaway, or maybe there was another time, but you were talking about marriage advice, maybe. Yeah.
It was with Mary Ashley. I mean, who that was a great podcast y'all did with her. But we were, since her wedding was approaching, we were just, we'd had some girls that we did a Bible study with previously, and one of them had said, hey, can you come up with a bunch of questions for me and my boyfriend to go back and forth on and just talk about things? And so I had like 30 or 40 questions that we'd put together, and some of them were completely goofy, yet important, as you would understand once you've been married, but some of them were, hey, these are foundational things. And so we like the whole van, we were driving back asking and answering these questions, whether anybody was dating anyone or not.
Sure. Yeah. And that's, whenever you just shared that story, that stayed with me as the type of person that you are, is like, you engaged in that time, like that it's a space where y'all could just be riding down the road. They could all be doing whatever they want. But I noticed that just in my own observation. So we're super thankful that you are a part. And then you mentioned, okay, so you're married, you have 2 boys and a daughter-in-law.
A daughter-in-law and a daughter-in-law on the way.
Yeah. And then you sell pharmaceutical drugs.
I do.
How long
I've
have you been doing that?
29 years. 29 years. Been with the same company that whole time, because I'm not very adventurous, and so I don't move around a lot. But 29 years, same place, living in the same town.
Yeah.
Because I'm not very adventurous.
Yeah, we're about to find out if you're adventurous, because we got some characteristics here. Were you going to say something?
I was just going to ask him, how old were your 2 boys?
So my oldest just turned 26
Gotcha.
last week, and my youngest is 22.
Gotcha.
Man, fun times.
Yeah.
Sounds like Brad has a double life, though. I think
It
there's
does
some
sound
more
like it's
adventure
What
in
should
there.
his other name be? We'll have to think
Chad and
about
Brad.
that. Chad is like
Look, well, this is what I'm
Veto.
listen, well, this is what I'm trying to figure out because it's like he's so busy, but he's always available. It's like he got two. It's like it's two of him. It's like when you hear all of the things he's been doing, and then he steady shows up, always look refreshed, always refined. I'm like, okay, is there another one that he's not telling us about?
Where's your twin?
Oh, the B is silent. It's rad.
Rad.
Yes, that's
Let's
it.
go.
Brad and Rad. That's it. Because he has, I mean, but I know a lot of us are listening to the podcast, but Brad is the type of person you wish everybody could meet once.
Yeah.
Because he has,
Not twice.
let me correct it, at least once.
At least once.
And the reason why, because he's such a helper, such an encourager, and it is like willing to do whatever is needed to perform any type of task. I was thinking about when we was at College Getaway, and we did we was having trouble with the sound. We was trying to get things together, and we finally got it together. We ministered, and he's the first person once we come off the platform to tell us we're doing such a great job, like so encouraging. And I'm like, man, this guy is so consistent, and so to be able to have him around as FCA, like I just want to tell you this, bro, like you're a great guy. Well, Rad, is this Brad or Rad? Whichever one it is,
Y'all gotta stop.
I'll
Y'all
say
gotta
to
move
both
on.
of them, you're a great man. You're doing a great job.
We are being serious. I know
Yeah,
that
we are,
I
yeah.
know that we like to have a good time. We like to have a good hang on this podcast, but we
Yeah.
really are being sincere.
I love hanging out with this group. I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. You've missed us.
I have. I've missed y'all terribly. I told you that.
You've missed us. All right. So some traits of an adventurous person. First thing, Justin already said it.
Curious.
Curiosity.
wow.
They genuinely want to learn, explore, and experience new things. They ask, what if, instead of, why bother? Y'all both. Justin, where do you fall in that?
I don't think I'm real high on that.
Why
Unfortunately,
bother?
Yeah.
I'm not an Eeyore.
Eeyore?
No.
You're not quite Eeyore status.
No, I'm kind of middle.
I have a hard time. I'll just admit this on the podcast. I have a hard time when there's absolutely nothing going on, and we don't have to be anywhere. This actually, maybe I'll bring up a recent example.
All right, go
When
ahead and throw shade at me.
No, I'm not throwing shade. I'm just trying to give an example.
I see a tree.
It's growing.
I see a tree.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, okay. It's not shade, but we go.
It's growing.
You let us define that, Bethany. You let us define that.
You got her. She's out, man.
Let us hear this, and then we'll define.
Oh my gosh! If I can tell this story.
Shade is just an example that will lead to shade.
Hey, that you can hide under, or that you can get under to cool off.
It's biblical.
Shade's good stuff.
It's
sometimes.
biblical. Okay. No, so Abby and I were in Nashville, and I had only booked to stay through Friday of this convention she was at. Well, then when we get there, we learn everybody else is staying until Saturday. And of course, she's like, I want to stay. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Then I check with Justin, and he had to get Eli to a birthday party. But besides that, there really was not anything else going on. And he was just saying, he was like, I don't know. I just want you guys home. And I was like, but what do we need to do? Because that's just, I'm not throwing shade. I'm just saying that's how our brains work different.
Yeah.
For me, I'm like, there's literally nothing on the schedule. I'm going to come home and I'm going to end up cleaning and cooking and putting up laundry. So that if those things are taxing and important that I need to come home and do, but just to come home when we could be experiencing something else, that's what my brain was saying.
Well, I need to chime in. I was doing all those things
Right.
while you were gone. I'm not relying on you to do that.
No.
So that's not just like
No,
she
no,
comes
no,
home
no.
and that's what you need to do.
That's what I would have done just because I'm
yeah.
home.
I just missed my wife and my daughter, part of it. And then, and not gonna lie, I was a bit tired. Ben was a lot this go around. He's 90 to nothing. And then Eli would help sometimes and not help sometimes. So I was just like,
So
another day.
that's just an example of this. I feel like if there's open space where there's nothing has to be absolutely done, I'm like,
Yeah.
what if?
There's a little
Why
selfish
not?
piece in that for me.
I was gonna say this. I'm Justice said it, but I'm going to side with him in the aspect of I'm a little bit of both. This is what makes it hard for me to be curious. I like control. See, to be curious,
You got to let go a little bit.
To have that what if, you got to be like, I'm willing to just ride the wave.
See what happens.
Yeah. I'm not. I want to know what's about to go down. I want to know, what's going. It's that piece of control.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes it just depends, but it's hard for me to just be curious because I like that level of control.
You think comfort plays a piece?
And that's what I feel like. Comfort and control is together. You know, I feel like that's
familiarity.
Those two. That right. It's like I don't have to be, on edge. I kind of, I'm comfortable. But when you start nudging me a little bit and I don't know what's going to happen, I almost feel like it's sometimes feel like it's jumping in a swimming pool and you can't swim.
Yeah.
And people are like, no, we're having fun. You like,
we're having a blast out here, Darius.
you like, you give it a try. Jump off the diving board from 20 feet in the air and just
get on that ATV and drive when you've never done it before.
Never done it. Like that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but okay, so this story of where y'all you might need to rehash the story because we might have told it wrong about the girls that y'all had on this trip and you went across the border.
Yeah, which that sounds like a terrible setup to a story, but so years and years ago.
Sorry,
drug guy.
There was a the story with it was a mission trip.
Kids.
We were on a mission trip.
Listen, it was a mission. It really was a mission.
It was a mission
A drug dealer going
no.
across border lines. It was a mission trip.
This was before those days, even.
Oh my gosh.
No.
I'm sorry, Brad.
Years and years ago, we went on it. So you want that story? Years and years ago, I was helping chaperone a mission trip with our church, with our youth group. And I was young. I mean, we were not married yet. We were 22 years old. We were engaged, but we were not married. And we're traveling out to northern Montana. And so that's where our mission trip was. And we were going to be there for a week or whatever. And all that was good. So the van I drove cross country, because there were 3 vans, the van I drove was all high school girls. So there was like a dozen 15-year-old girls driving from here to northern Montana over like 3 days.
Wow.
And let me tell you,
that's also a trip you need endurance for.
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking, I don't know if I'd rather be in a one hotel room with 9 to 21-year-olds, or that was an educational experience for me as a 22-year-old dude that did not have any sisters even. And so we went across the country, and we get there, we do the mission trip, and then one day we've got an afternoon that's like a free afternoon at a mission trip, and so we said, we're like 30 miles from the Canadian border. We could go to Canada. We could, just go across the line.
What if we went to Canada?
What if? I'm curious, So anyway, we could go to Canada. And so the whole group decided to go. And so our girls got in the van and we go across into Canada. You did not need a passport to get into Canada, and this goes back to the stories I've heard Doc telling about, in the past about getting in and out of the country. Didn't need a passport. It's easy to get it out, and so we go into Canada. We go literally a half a mile across the border within sight of the border station and stop at the welcome center or gift shop, and everybody's going in and they're getting some $2, $5, whatever, souvenir, just so we can say, we've been to Canada.
Got to get that magnet.
Yeah, it was magnets, postcards, that kind of stuff. So everybody goes in. We're in there for 30 minutes. All right, everybody, we're loading back up. We're going back across. So we turn around. We come back to the border. And coming back across, you're on the same road. You're just on the other side of the highway going through one of those border stations. And so we get met by the, border, police or whatever there, and they said, okay, we need to see everybody's passport to come in. And we were like, we don't have passports. And they said, well, you got to have a passport or a birth certificate on each of these because they're under the age of 18.
But getting in,
getting across, they didn't ask us anything.
Wow.
And so they're like, you got to have a birth certificate or a passport with each of these, unless they are traveling with their parents. And so me, 22, my fiance, 22, sitting up in the front two seats of the van, a dozen 15-year-old girls back behind us. One of the girls leans forward, Ma, Pa, is there some problem up there? And obviously the guy kind of knew, because I said, hey, we just came across here 30 minutes ago.
Seen us.
I was like, we stopped. I'm pointing at the store. You can see the store from where we're parked. And I'm like, we stopped right there, got postcards and came back across. And so the girls were, quickly, Mom, Dad, anything wrong up there? And the guy just kind of, he waved us through. He knew what was going on.
Way to be a team player, though.
That was quick.
I mean, so,
Think fast.
that was...
I feel like a lot of girls would just cry. Like,
Exactly.
Just be
I thought we were about to all live in
done.
Canada from now on.
Well, sometimes I think border security or airport security just play around with you just to
and
see if they can
that could have been
freak
the
you out.
case, and it worked at 22 years old.
Heck yeah.
I can
man.
only imagine.
I'd be freaking
But
out.
some of them now, you talk about that, but some of them are a little too intense. It's like, you like, hey, this is a little rough for all of us. Can we just
Calm down.
calm
a
down
little bit.
just a tad, just a tad? But I'm glad you made it back.
Well, I am too.
He would have been.
I wasn't dressed for living in Canada, for the rest of my life at that point. So, it would have been an adjustment.
So I wonder if that happens to somebody for real. How do they get back?
I don't know.
I can only imagine. Like that's a
You got to have people mail you your birth certificate. I guess.
and get a passport or whatever. You have to go through. I've got a guy. In fact, I just met with him like an hour ago before we came in here. We're going on a mission trip. Guess what? To Canada in a week and a half. I'm headed back to Canada. And one of my college students, his passport hadn't come in yet. And he's stressed about it. And he's got an appointment in New Orleans to try to get them to expedite it because it's been 8 weeks and, he hadn't gotten it in yet. So next Wednesday, he's got an appointment, and next Friday, he gets on a flight.
Oh, wow.
So
we had some students go. We couldn't go with them to Barbados, and one of the girls showed up at the airport and didn't have her passport.
Yeah.
So she did not get to go on the trip.
Was that Lauren?
Lauren.
Oh,
I know.
Lauren.
I know. And then we weren't there because they were going, and we, had set it up, arranged it for them to manage everything themselves. But that was pretty rough. So optimism is another, trait of an adventurous person. They can believe something good can come from trying something new, and also confidence in problem solving. I think that's what is more of where the, you were saying like being comfortable or familiar, like you want to be in control. Mm-hmm. I think that if you can have confidence, you can solve any problem. That gives me a little bit more comfort. Like it doesn't necessarily mean nothing crazy is going to come up, but I trust that I can figure it out, or with someone's help, I can figure it out. And so that gives me a little bit more comfort if I'm in a new setting.
I think a lot of curious people are confident.
Okay.
I think a lot of naturally curious people have an inner confidence that the average person doesn't have. Because you got to think they're willing to take risk or take steps that most people just aren't willing to take. And a lot of times those people get to have, in Mr. Brad's case, experience that the average person don't get to have. So I'm trying to open up to be a little more curious, because the reason why, because I'm the person more often than not, I have to hear about how great of a time you had.
Do you like to learn?
I do, but I like to learn about things I'm interested in.
Yeah.
If I'm not interested in it, it's like,
I mean, our son Eli is pretty calculated. Like, I feel like he's adventurous too, I think, but because he likes to go have new experiences. But I feel like, I don't know if that's the same thing, where it's like he kind of wants to know what's going to be the case, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, what about any other stories, Brad, that you have that we don't know of, that you're thinking of, that curiosity led to an adventure of some kind?
There's plenty, but I don't know. I don't know what can be shared. Like
Whatever you want.
We can edit it out.
No. But I just I think going back to where we just were, curiosity. I'm big on curiosity. Mm-hmm. I really am interested in a lot of different things, and I think that sometimes drives people around me nuts, because they get drug along on my curiosity questions. I mean, but I'm also one that is uncomfortable when I don't feel like I have control. So those kind of offset for me.
Did you learn that from somebody? A curiosity thing? Was that passed down to you some way?
My parents are curious. My dad, honestly, my dad has way more adventures and crazy stories here than I could share. But also, having some control on things. So yeah, that's a whole separate topic. But I mean, curiosity and control.
So see, now that I think about it, when you talk about passed down, Santana is more curious. Mm-hmm. She's more open to trying stuff, doing stuff. But when I look at her family structure, they were like that.
Yeah.
I come more from a family of we didn't really do that much. Everything was kind of like straight line. You don't really try new things. So it took me to get connected with her to start being open and realizing like, okay, this is okay to be like this. It's okay to, like you said, to look into something, find out, so I know being connected to her has really helped me out a lot. Cause my immediate family, they wasn't really like, it was more like, do the same thing, not really getting outside of the routine.
Yeah.
Curious people. Okay, we've been doing this. Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Let's try. Well, what if we did this? I started connecting that with her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I liked this definition that I found. It says adventure sits at the intersection of two things: the curiosity to wonder what's over there and the bravery to actually go and look. So I think that we're talking about obviously stories and travel and things like this, but just bringing back in Justin's decision to leave something that is comfortable, familiar, and do something that he does not have previous experience in, running a restaurant. And what would be your motivation? That you said a few things that I think are good takeaways for anybody listening, just at any stage of your life, is whenever you feel like maybe you're not being pushed or challenged, or that you want to learn something new. I know I started grad school and thankfully finished. It took me 5 years, a few years ago, finally got to graduate.
Congrats.
Yeah. But it was, it was really hard for me to take that step because I was working part-time. We had very young children at the time. And I was like, what am I doing? But then it's that tension of, I'm really curious though, of what is in that for me that I probably need. But then I don't know if I want to take that step to commit the time. And I know that was a big commitment for both of us, but what would push you to make this decision? What is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know. I think that comfort level of doing this for a certain amount of time. And I think I just wanted to learn something new. Because
some people strive for that comfort. I'm going to work my whole life to get to a place of comfort and familiarity.
Well, I think when I took a year off from FCA and I worked at Home Depot, for a bit and got into the retail world. I really
that was before we came to
getting my hands dirty a little bit, serving people, and I saw what a good experience could do to a person when they came in really upset or not having a great day, and it just kind of pricked something I think in me a little bit of and so the hospitality piece and taking care of people and creating a great experience has always kind of been in there. Haven't really had, and then you get to do that within FCA. You want to create great experiences for people, encounters with the Lord. You see that growth, that community, and that family. So that's there, and I've been a part of that for a long time. But this was just a different opportunity. I know I can lead people. I know, having a group of people to pour into, that's fun. That's always going to remain fun. But I think just taking on a whole new challenge of the restaurant. And just creating a great experience in that capacity. It's a different type of ministry. I'll get to float around and talk to a lot more people, and get to hear more stories and encourage more people. And I do enjoy that part. I'm very curious about people's stories, and that leads me to being curious about other things. Yeah. And so I don't know. I'm looking forward to that and just being more involved in this community in a different way. So yeah,
I know that the shift that we made from Mississippi College to UT, I remember saying something like this, and then Brad, I think you had something to comment. I was like, I wonder if what we've done at Mississippi College for 6 years will translate and work somewhere else, and especially at a big Power 5 at the time school. And so that would be a curious thing that I was just God, I just wonder, if we get the opportunity, if they offer us this job, I really kind of want to know if this will work somewhere else, But some people might be like, well, it works here, so why would you leave?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't know what that is, but I got it. I have been bit by that bug where I'm like, I wonder. You were going to say anything?
I think that's awesome how you've approached that. And the verse that comes to my mind on all types of situations always is Jeremiah 29:11, and I'm thinking through, and that verse is for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in the future. And it applies especially with college students. I mean, it applies with what you guys are going through right now, but it applies with college students because when you're 20 years old and you're like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing 5 years from now. I don't know what I'm going to be doing next year. I don't know if I'm going to be at the school. I don't know if I'm going to be changing my major. I don't know if I'm changing teams. I don't know who I'm marrying. I don't know, all these. And man, that is such a challenge and an anxiety prescription.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah.
For so many, so many of us. And just knowing that, while we think we have that vision of control, you and I were talking about like, hey, we got the curiosity, but we also want some control. I mean, we were feeling that a minute ago. That's just a perception of control. We don't have control anyway. I mean, like the Lord has our plans in His hands, and so that makes it a little easier.
Yeah,
to be curious and to step out.
Yeah, and then I was gonna just add to that, like. I think it's also perspective driven. Like when you realize, like you said, that you don't have control, and you start understanding that every step of my life, whatever I'm doing, God is unfolding something, not just to me, but about me.
Yeah.
It was amazing as I was walking in, God just began to deal with me, and I'm thinking about you talking about adventure. We're talking about transitions. Like God just began to deal with me that there's still an element of us we haven't met yet.
That's good.
Yeah.
There's still an element of us that has yet to be revealed. And what he was showing me was every new door that he opens, there's a you that you know before you go into it. But then it's like going through the entrance and then going through the exit. When you go through the exit, there's a revelation about yourself that you did not know before you entered.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I know you can piggyback off of the Home Depot experience. You can piggyback off the FCA experiences, but this is an experience that's going to introduce Justin to a different version of him that he's yet to experience.
That's cool.
And so I say that because I was just thinking about, coming around you all. I'll admit this now, but when I first came to FCA and I started coming to the huddles, it was I almost had like a very hard place of anxiety, because it was almost like I was feeling like a fish out of water, because it wasn't what I was accustomed to. Like it was different.
Yeah.
You gotta think, I'm used to being around high school to smaller children and then grown people. Like to be around, the middle is like, so to be around college students, it was literally like I was like, man, this is different. I'm not used to this. Like, and so I'm like, Lord, how are you gonna? And I remember the guy speaking to me, he was like, just breathe. He was like, I brought you to a place to expand you. Comfort keeps us from expanding, because what happens is we start to look for history in the future. And so so what I'm saying is, like, when you start talking about that element of adventure, I remember like, and just thinking about, we talking about the Bible says the just shall live by faith. God dealt with me like we have to learn how to live comfortably uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like we have to embrace a level of where we're not super comfortable, because the faith is living in the level of the unknown, but the assurance of God knows what's going on.
Right. Yeah,
and so that's why I say, just thinking about some of those different things, there are elements of us we don't know yet that we're being exposed to. And I'll say this, because I was one of the speakers at the camp, and I was terrified. Because I'm like, I have never spoken to a room this big of so many young people that's like as young as 6, 7 years old, all the way up. And I'm like, I don't know what to like. And I'm literally terrified. And God really just began to settle my heart, making me think about College Getaway. Brought me to when we went to Belhaven, and I'm seeing times you spoke like bringing me back, and it's like I was preparing you without you being in the seat. So when your moment came, so I'm saying in the aspect of all of these different things, I just believe that there's aspects of us that God wants us to realize He knows how to bring forth the you that you haven't met.
Yeah.
But you just have to trust the process.
Yeah.
Like you said, He know the plans. He know the thoughts, things to prosper us. And so that's what gives me great comfort in the face of the unknowns.
Yeah.
It's good.
I remember a very distinct time when after we had Abby, it was like life. Like that was probably the biggest shift in our life. There's been a lot of change, but the biggest thing was like now all of a sudden I'm a mom and having to interact with a child. I don't know. I had an identity crisis of like, I want to be a mom, right? Like, I don't know that I want, like, it was rough. And I've had to apologize when she was little. I apologized to her several times because it was like, I don't know how to do this. But
it's my first time doing this, right?
Yeah, right. I know. I'm like, I'm
You're
so
getting
sorry.
the worst of us.
I'm so sorry. Right. But that was an example of just like, I might have acted motherly, like to maybe ish to like the college students, but like I was becoming that as I had this relationship with my daughter and then obviously our sons. And so I am hopeful that I think Ben's getting better versions of us being the youngest, but that's something that, and that's just one area of my life personally that it's like it unfolds as you journey through that. So as variables change and are added, that happens more, right? That you're just like being formed right in front of your eyes and being open, being curious, being willing to learn, being able to be okay with failing. I mean, not having that fear of failure or judgment is very helpful to be able to stay in that space. Okay, we're going to land the plane here pretty soon, but I wanted to say this comment and then ask one question. So just so y'all can be thinking about it, I want to ask the question, what benefit do you think there are to being adventurous? Like, why would that be something that you might value or embrace? Okay, that's the question, but I'm going to say this. Curiosity without bravery is just daydreaming. The trip you research for years and never take. Bravery without curiosity is recklessness, motion for its own sake. Where they meet, where wondering turns into willingness, is where an ordinary day becomes an adventure. So just saying, like, if you're curious, it just is like a dream because you never really go and actually explore it. But if you're brave and you're not really like thinking through the process, you might be a little reckless. Yeah. So it's kind of the marriage of those two things, curiosity and bravery, that makes an adventure. And I think that can be whether you're going on a trip, changing a job, like circumstances change, that anything can be an adventure. I'm even thinking about these athletes that come, we've talked about the challenge of people coming in and out. And as we're having this conversation, I'm like, maybe I need to even think about my position with FCA, like treating this more from like an adventure brain, then I got to come up with a way that all this ministry plan will work. Like in a traditional sense, because if I have a more adventurous approach, it'll probably be an easier experience as people transition in and out, because that's what they're on. I mean, honestly, I'm very surprised and amazed by the adventure, like just how willing these kids are to get in the portal. Like I know that like there's a lot of opinion like, they're jumping schools, they're not learning loyalty, all this stuff. But at the same time, I think it takes a ton of bravery to put yourself in that position. And obviously anything can be exploited or treated the wrong way or whatever. But like most of the people I talk to are kind of terrified of having to do that.
A lot of transparency.
Yeah. And so it's not optimal, but the way that they can go to a new town, find a new apartment, find new people, all that, like that is not an easy thing to do. So anyway, just want to mention that. But
wow, that's so good because we talk so much about plans, right? And making our plans and executing those plans. And what if we just approach things more from an adventure standpoint?
It's going to be an adventure.
And that doesn't mean you don't have some sort of plan to kind of guide you a bit, but I think we probably need to emphasize adventure a bit more.
Yeah, because I think that it takes me out of my curious part.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like,
You
okay,
miss moments.
I gotta make sure that I'm doing X, Y, and Z instead of let me observe, let me be curious about what is happening.
Yeah. You need to cross the border.
Bring a passport.
Okay, so last question, and then I want to ask Brad a little bit about his mission trip coming up. But is like, what benefit do you think adventure has if a person embraces that kind of mindset? What does that even? How does that even benefit us?
Yeah.
As a human being?
It unlocks some stuff. I mean, you don't really know who you are until adventures kind of bring it out. You really don't. Like when
I
you
also
get
think
squeezed a bit.
You don't know who other people are.
No, you don't know who other
Like we were
people are either.
we were at Mississippi College and we moved to Austin, Texas. Austin, Texas was a very, very hard place for us for a variety of reasons. It was also very beautiful and awesome. But we are not the same people as a result because of the people we met there. And there were things that we believed and that were like, this is what we believe, that were tested in going there because we were exposed to a lot of more things, and it forces you to go back to what you have believed and been taught and compare and contrast and like work those things out. But if you only stay in your bubble of what you believe and you never are exposed and have relationships with other people that think different, it doesn't really force you to like analyze those things. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we are different. We were just shaped a lot in that time. So I think that goes along with like, you don't know who you are or other people really, if you just like stay in this place of comfort.
Yep.
I feel like I have more accurate view of like reality.
Yeah.
You're very limited. It's like a person that lives in Mississippi but hasn't been anywhere else. So they think
Everybody.
all of life and all the world operates
Right.
like how they operate.
Right.
You know, and is evolution. I feel like you evolve because you find out more about yourself. You find out more about others. There's certain things that I now can look back to say why I'm grateful, why I was willing to do certain things. Because if I wasn't, and I'm saying even if I was pushed, we went to Mexico. The trip to Mexico, one of the things that we had a little excursion, but one of the things we had to do was climb up. A lot of people know I'm scared of heights, but we had to climb up like some logs all the way to a high point, and then you have to hold on to the rope and swing down. It was like a time-based. And so everybody knew that they was telling me I was scared, he ain't gonna do it, and I'm seeing people do it. And so that kind of pushed me, but then that competitive side, like I realized I'm a competitor. I don't like being played to the left. I think it's the little man syndrome. People think you like, it's just, and
Preach.
I'm saying,
Preach.
so it pulls something out of me that if I wouldn't have done that adventure, it wouldn't have been exposed to me, neither others. Because I remember after that, my wife was like, babe, I'm really impressed. I didn't know you had that in you. And I'm like, Hercules comes out every once in a while, but
He's in there.
But I feel like just those adventures, it's a way of getting us to grow.
Yeah.
We learn we can survive, we can thrive, and then also, Justin said it, but I'm going to just piggyback off of it too, is learning others. Like you learn how to appreciate, like I've grown to learn how to appreciate the opinions, the standards of other people, and learning that, okay, it may not be mine, but it doesn't have to deter, or sometimes we can work together. Like you don't have to be, everybody don't have to be this way, and so those are things that I feel like adventures, have taught us. When we went to Ohio for the camp, we had like 8 parents that went with us, and some of them were newly committed to our ministry. So being able to take that trip, there were things that I got to learn from them that I would have never knew if I didn't have that moment of fellowship. Yeah. And then they are often, a lot of those see me as out front on the pulpit. So to ride with me 10 hours on a bus and get to see how I'm handling things, it's like it gave them a greater appreciation, because it's like, he's not performing. Yeah. This is who he is. But adventure, if you take the adventure away, we don't have those experiences.
Yeah, that's good.
I'll jump in and say, what does adventure give us? I give two thoughts. One, from a secular point of view, again, I'm the old man in the room. Life is fast.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it was yesterday I was a Mississippi State student in my mind, right? It was yesterday.
Wow.
And it wasn't. It was 30 years ago, So, when you're 20, you feel like I've got, all this time. And you do, and I hope you do.
Right.
From a secular point of view, I would say, choose adventure, do some things, see some things, go to different places in the world. I'm not telling you to leave Mississippi. That's not it at all.
Yeah.
I live right here, but go see some different things and have some different experiences. Try something new. All right. So from a biblical point of view, I also believe that most of the commands I see biblically are go. And I mean, this is not just a mission trip or saying you got to move to the other side of the world. I mean, it's go to other people, go to other things. And, sometimes God calls us to sit and sit in something for a while, but often He's saying, go and see, and do and preach and share.
Yeah,
So
that's
go.
a good point. That's a great point. Any other thoughts on adventure before we wrap up? Brad, I would like to hear about your upcoming adventure. You're going on your trip.
I'm gonna say this before he does goes into this. This is the last thing I'm gonna say, or I plan to say. Something that has been very, very important to me is kind of like you saying, life moves fast. Is to make moments and be intentional on not missing moments. Because I feel like sometimes, especially when you're young, you kind of feel like there will always be another moment. And with some of the things that have happened around us, what I've been seeing is like, be present and then also be intentional. I asked Bethany before me and Santana took our trip to Destiny. I was like, how do you make sure that you're focused on just me and her? We be doing so much outside. I want to be, and in that time I learned that you have to make moments. And I feel like adventures give us that opportunity. That way, even if something, God forbid, but even if something did happen, you have something you can rest on. You got a memory that you can kind of hold true to. I got a chance to do X, Y, and Z with this particular person, and so I say that because that's something that is very important to me now, because I used to allow a lot of moments to pass, like gathering with family, gathering with friends. You never take a picture. You never, and that's why I think now I've grown to start always taking capturing moments, because there'd be times where somebody said, well, I don't know who such and such is. I've never seen them, or it's just like, okay, hey, hold on. I can show, so I just say that like in the aspect of being adventurous, and I think we can make adventures.
Yeah.
Like adventures doesn't have to always be something we go to. Adventures can be something we create.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to kind of share that when you talk about life moving fast, that's something that we have actually experienced here lately. And it's like, no, make moments and make the most of them.
Yeah. And right now, this is not a generational comment. This is not saying, hey, this new generation. This is talking about everybody, all of us at this point. We have so much more opportunity to waste time now than we had.
You're right.
I mean, when we were kids, there were times when we were bored and we would go to our parents or to our friends or whatever and say, I'm bored. What can I do? And, after 15 minutes, you found something to do. It might have been something you didn't want to do. You might have gotten a chore out of it, but there'd be something to do. And now, all of us, we have the opportunity to waste time, doom scroll, Netflix, whatever, and you just look up and you're like, man, 5 hours just went by.
Yeah. I was just writing this note, and then Brad's gonna tell a story. We keep telling that tease that's really coming. But COVID, I feel like, really did a number on me and maybe other people as far as getting used to being okay with missing stuff. Because birthday parties got canceled, sports got canceled. And so I think I think in one way it's good because, you know, you have so many things that you can go do. It can be, and we were living in the city at the time. So like, it can be a lot to be like, we could go do a lot of things today. So it was kind of nice from a mom's perspective to be like, we can't go anywhere. We're going to stay home and I don't have to coordinate nothing. But I think, I don't know what, you know, how all that worked mentally on everyone in the world, but I just think it got easy to be used to like not going to those things. And so I feel like I'm coming into a season where I'm really challenging myself. So bringing this a little bit full circle, I think my future self would want me to not let things keep me from adventure. Like we took the kids to some baseball games. We didn't plan to postseason with Mississippi State. And that was a lot just because you had to pack so much more and all of that. But it's like, it is worth it. We have stories that we came away with. Did they complain? Did we complain? Was it hot? Yes, like all the things. But it's like we did create those memories together that we can go back and talk about. And I don't know. So I think that that's a challenge for me is whenever I'm just kind of like, do I want to do all the work that it's going to require to do that? Like, yes, I do. Yeah. Like making that choice. So Brad, we want to hear about your mission trip though.
Well, the mission trip that we've got coming up, just I'd ask for everybody to pray that it goes well. But we're going to Canada. We're working with. I'm at First Baptist Church in Starkville. We've got a group going. I've got 10 college students going with me, and then my wife and one other lady that's our age. And so we're going to be helping out with a sports camp there that Canvas Church does in Victoria, Canada. I've been there before. I've been there with Coach Fanning. And help
She's
out
not going this year?
No, that was a basketball camp.
Okay.
This year was a soccer camp. And so that's why I was chosen to go for that. And I was like, I will be a poor replacement for Coach Fanning on that. And as it turns out, actually, it's being switched. I just found out in the last couple of days. In fact, my team doesn't even know this yet, and I need to let them know. We're going to be doing more flag football, it looks like, than we're going to be doing soccer. But we got about 300 kids that we're going to be helping out with in Victoria, Canada. So pray for that. Looking forward to it. But that's what's going on with that. But I want to do one thing. You didn't ask me to do this. I'm going to throw this out here because I feel like you're getting close to hitting the wrap button.
Yeah.
So you always leave them wanting more. So I will just give you some headline other stories. I thought,
Please.
but no explanation. And the tease on that is, you got to come meet me now. You know, you got to come up here to FCA. You got to come to Huddle on Monday nights. You feel free to ask me all these questions. You come meet me with me at my church, whatever. But 4 headlines for you.
Okay, give them to us.
Within a 2-year period, I was shot and had to go to the emergency room. And I still have the bullet. You know, at my parents' house. It's in the drawer somewhere. My bullet's at my
I have so many questions.
See, I know. That's why I'm. This is the tease. Within that same 2-year period, I was a Christian rapper in front of hundreds of people. I did that for Doc. I look at him.
Wow.
Christian rapper in front of hundreds of people. Did a couple of performances there. My dad, I told you, interesting stories. My dad was investigated for a potential presidential assassination attempt.
What?
Completely innocent. But you'll have to ask me the story.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And so all those happened within a couple of years. And then also when you said COVID, I was thinking, you know, what did I do during COVID? I went from couch to marathon during COVID. We were home for my company sent us home for about 8 weeks, and I went from couch to marathon in those 8 weeks. So, you know, that was my thing.
I was already thinking. Yeah, I was already thinking as we were recording and seeing how much, you know, time was on the clock here. I was like, we're going to have an adventure part 2 episode. So, yeah, make sure to ask Brad these stories in between.
This is wow.
But I told you, man, we're bringing him back.
He is so full of so much.
Well, be careful.
That is so funny. Well, Brad, thank you so much for coming on. I really do hope some person just walks up to you and is like, you got to tell me about getting shot. And that we hope your mission trip goes well. We'll be praying for that, and that, you know, that you will come back with some awesome stories from that and maybe surprise us and shock us all in that as well. But it's been fun. It's been a good hang. Doc, good to have you back.
Glad to be back.
And we just look forward to whatever conversation comes next week as we keep talking about things like adventure and also the off season as all the athletes start coming back. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to the Created to Be podcast. To learn more about Mississippi State FCA, visit www.msufca.org and follow us on Instagram at HailStateFCA_. And check out our new Instagram for podcast content at Created to Be Podcast. If you would like to become a financial partner, visit www.fca.org/donate to sow into the work God is doing through FCA at Mississippi State.